The escape pod screamed to the alien atmosphere like a falling star, trailing smoke and fire behind it. Inside, 12-year-old Marcus Chin gripped the safety harness, so tightly his knuckles turned white. Alarms blared all around him. Red warning lights flashed across every surface. Through the small viewport, he could see pieces of his family's transport ship burning up as they fell toward the planet below. "Mom! Dad!" Marcus shouted into the communication system, but only static answered him. His younger sister's face flashed through his mind. The last thing he remembered was his father shoving him into the escape pod, the door sealing shut between them. Then the explosion. Then nothing but spinning and falling. The pod slammed into something hard. Marcus's head snapped forward, and everything went dark. When he opened his eyes again, pain shot through his left arm. The pod had crashed into the side of a mountain, wedged between two massive trees that glowed with soft blue light. Marcus blinked hard. The trees were actually glowing. Their bark pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that looked like veins carrying liquid starlight. He fumbled with the release mechanism. His fingers shook as he pushed the emergency lever. The hatch hissed open, and cold air rushed inside. Marcus stumbled out onto moss that felt like carpet under his feet. Above him, 3 moons hung in a purple sky. None of them looked like Earth's moon. This planet was nothing like home. A howl echoed through the forest. It sounded hungry. Marcus grabbed the emergency pack from the pod and ran. His arm throbbed with each step, but fear pushed him forward. Behind him, branches snapped. Something was following him. Something big. He ran until his lungs burned and his legs felt like rubber. The glowing forest seemed endless. Then he saw it. A dark opening in the mountainside, partially hidden by hanging vines that sparkled like Christmas lights. A cave. Marcus didn't think. He just ran inside. The cave mouth was large enough to fit a house. Marcus pressed himself against the wall, breathing hard, watching the entrance. Yellow eyes appeared between the trees outside. They were the size of dinner plates. The creature they belonged to growled, a sound that vibrated in Marcus's chest. But it didn't enter the cave. After a long moment, it turned and disappeared into the forest. Marcus slid down the wall and sat on the cold stone floor. His whole body shook. He was alone on an alien planet. His family was gone. The emergency beacon in the pod was destroyed. No one knew where he was. Hot tears ran down his face, but he wiped them away quickly. His dad always said that astronauts don't cry. They solve problems. He pulled out a small flashlight from the emergency pack and turned it on. The beam revealed a tunnel leading deeper into the mountain. On the walls, Marcus could see carvings. They were old, ancient even. He moved closer. The carvings showed creatures with wings and long necks. They looked like the dragons from his sister's storybooks. Marcus knew he should stay near the entrance. That's what all the survival guides said. But night was coming, and those yellow eyes might come back with friends. The tunnel felt warmer than the entrance. Safer somehow. He walked deeper into the mountain. The tunnel opened into a massive chamber that made him gasp. It was bigger than any building he had ever seen. Crystals grew from the ceiling and floor, glowing with soft golden light. In the center of the chamber, coiled like a mountain of scales and muscle, was a dragon. A real dragon. Marcus froze. His flashlight fell from his hand and clattered on the stone floor. The sound echoed through the chamber like thunder. Slowly, impossibly slowly, the dragon's massive eye opened. It was the size of a car door, and it glowed like molten gold. The dragon's head rose up until it nearly touched the ceiling 100 feet above. Marcus couldn't move. He couldn't breathe. He could only stare as the creature unfurled wings that scraped the chamber walls. Its scales were the color of bronze and silver mixed together, and each one was bigger than Marcus's entire body. The dragon looked down at him. Marcus felt like an ant staring at a mountain. "Please don't eat me," Marcus whispered. His voice was so small in that enormous space. The dragon tilted its head. Then, with a grace that seemed impossible for something so large, it lowered its massive head to the ground. The gesture was unmistakable. It was bowing. A voice entered Marcus's mind, deep and ancient, speaking words he somehow understood. At last, The inheritor has come. Marcus sat very still as the dragon's enormous head rested on the ground before him. Up close, he could see that the creature's scales were covered in scars. Some looked like claw marks. Others looked like they came from weapons. This dragon had fought many battles. "You can talk in my head," Marcus said quietly. His voice still shook a little. "Yes, young one. Your kind calls it telepathy. My name is Verazul, last guardian of the first flight." The dragon's voice rumbled through Marcus's thoughts like distant thunder. "You are injured. Let me help." Before Marcus could protest, the dragon breathed out a soft golden mist. It wrapped around Marcus's broken arm like warm silk. The pain faded instantly. When the mist cleared, his arm felt perfect again. Even the bruises on his face were gone. "How did you do that?" Marcus touched his arm in wonder. "It is an old skill, one my kind mastered before your species learned to make fire." The dragon's golden eyes studied him carefully. "Tell me, child, what do you know of dragons?" Marcus thought about his sister's picture books. "They're not real. They're just stories people made up a long time ago." Something that might have been a smile crossed the dragon's face. "Not made up. Remembered. My kind walked among your ancestors long ago, on your world called Earth. We were there when your people still lived in caves and hunted with stone tools." "That's impossible," Marcus said. But even as he spoke, he remembered the carvings on the tunnel walls. They looked older than anything he had ever seen. "I will show you," Verazul said. "Close your eyes." Marcus hesitated, then obeyed. Suddenly, images flooded his mind. He saw dragons flying through Earth's ancient skies. He saw them watching early humans from mountain peaks. He saw a dragon gently helping a human child who had fallen into a river. The visions felt real, like memories that belonged to someone else. "We were the first to travel between the stars," Verazul's voice explained as the visions continued. "We explored countless worlds. We grew powerful. But power without purpose is hollow. Then we found Earth. We found humanity." The visions shifted. Marcus saw dragons meeting with early human tribes. He saw wonder and fear in human eyes slowly change to friendship. Your kind was different from every species we had met. You were weak, small, short-lived, but you had something we had lost. The dragon's voice grew softer. You could form true bonds across the walls of species. You could love those different from yourselves. You could trust without limit. We dragons had forgotten how to do this. Marcus opened his eyes. "So you helped us?" "We made a covenant. We would guide your species from the shadows. We would protect you until you learned to reach the stars on your own. Then we would leave. We would hide and wait to see what kind of species you would become." Verazul lifted his head higher. "Would you become conquerors? Would you forget kindness when you gain power? Or would you remain true to that spark we saw in your ancestors? How long have you been waiting?" Marcus asked. 3,000 of your years. I am the last. The others died or went into the deep sleep from which there is no waking. I remained here, alone, watching the stars and hoping." Marcus felt tears in his eyes again, but this time they weren't from fear. "That's so sad. 3,000 years all by yourself." "Yes," the dragon agreed. "It has been lonely." For a moment, they sat in silence. Marcus thought about his family, about never seeing them again, about being alone on this strange planet. He understood loneliness now in a way he never had before. "I miss my family," Marcus said quietly. "My mom, my dad, my little sister." The ship exploded. "I think they're gone." Verazul lowered his head again until his massive eye was level with Marcus. "I am sorry, young one. Grief is the price we pay for love. But listen to me now. Your trial is not over. My presence here has been detected. Hunters are coming. The KRYLL. What are the KRYLL? A species that kills rare beings and sells their parts for weapons. They have been hunting my kind for many years. They will come for me. And they will take you too, because you are with me." Marcus stood up straighter. "Then I'll fight them with you." The dragon made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You are brave, just like your ancestors. But first, you must learn. I will teach you how to survive. I will teach you the ways my kind once taught yours, and I will show you where the old outpost is hidden in case I fall. You won't fall, Marcus said with more confidence than he felt. We'll fight them together. Verazul's eyes glowed brighter. Yes, together, as it was always meant to be. 3 days passed in the cave. Verazul taught Marcus many things. He learned how to move silently through the forest. He learned which plants were safe to eat and which would kill him. He learned to listen with his mind, not just his ears. The dragon's telepathy lessons were hard, but Marcus was getting better. He could feel Verazul's thoughts now, like whispers at the edge of his awareness. On the 4th morning, both of them felt it at the same time, a wrongness in the air. They are here, Verazul said. The dragon's body tensed like a coiled spring. The KRYLL have found us. Marcus climbed onto a rock ledge where he could see the cave entrance. In the distance, 3 dark ships descended from the sky. They were sharp and angular like flying knives. They landed in the glowing forest with a scream of engines. Ramps dropped open and creatures emerged. The KRYLL looked like insects that had learned to walk upright. They had 6 limbs, glossy black armor covering their bodies, and faces that were all mandibles and compound eyes. Each one carried weapons that hummed with blue energy. Marcus counted 15 of them. Why are there so many? Marcus whispered, because I am valuable to them. Dragon bone can be ground into dust that makes weapons stronger. Dragon blood can heal any injury. Dragon scales can stop any blade. Verazul's voice was bitter. They have hunted my kind to near extinction for these prizes. Marcus felt anger burn in his chest. That's horrible. Yes, but I am old and weak. I've been in stasis too long. My power has faded. The dragon looked at Marcus with sad eyes. You must run, young one. There is an outpost 5 miles north. I showed you in our lessons. Go there. Use the beacon. Call for help. No. Marcus crossed his arms. I won't leave you. Marcus. My dad once told me that being brave isn't about not being scared. It's about doing what's right even when you are scared. Marcus picked up a piece of broken metal from the crashed escape pod that he had salvaged. It wasn't much, but it was sharp. You've been alone for 3,000 years. I won't let you die alone, too. Verazul stared at him for a long moment. Then the dragon's eyes glowed brighter. You are worthy of the covenant. Very well, we fight together. But we must be smart. I will draw them into the cave. You will use the tactics I taught you. Be the shadow. Be the surprise. The KRYLL entered the forest carefully. Their leader, taller than the others with red markings on its armor, barked orders in a clicking language. They moved toward the cave in formation, weapons ready. Marcus hid in the shadows near the cave entrance, his heart pounding so hard he thought they might hear it. The emergency pack contained 3 signal flares and a small chemical explosive meant for clearing debris. Not much, but it would have to be enough. The KRYLL entered the cave. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness. Then Verazul roared. The sound shook the entire mountain. It was rage and defiance, and 3,000 years of loneliness all released at once. The KRYLL opened fire. Blue energy bolts lit up the cave like lightning. Verazul moved with surprising speed for something so large. His tail swept through the group, sending 3 KRYLL flying into the walls. His claws caught another, tearing through its armor. But there were too many. Energy bolts struck the dragon's side. He roared in pain. Marcus acted. He lit the first flare and threw it at the KRYLL's feet. The bright red light blinded their compound eyes. They screeched and stumbled backward. In confusion, Marcus ran along the cave wall and planted the small explosive near their ammunition supplies. He set the timer for 30 seconds and ran. The explosion was smaller than he hoped, but it worked. The KRYLL's energy packs overloaded and detonated in a chain reaction. Half the group went down, their weapons destroyed. The others retreated toward the entrance. But their leader stayed. It raised a larger weapon, one that glowed with sickly green light. A capture net shot out, wrapping around Verazul's wings. The dragon fell, trapped. No! Marcus screamed. He ran forward without thinking, jumping on the KRYLO leader's back. It was like trying to wrestle a truck. The creature reached back with its middle limbs and grabbed him, lifting him into the air. The KRYLO leader's mandibles clicked near Marcus's face. Its compound eyes reflected his terrified expression 1,000 times. It carried him toward the ships. Verazul struggled against the net, roaring Marcus's name. But the net was made to hold dragons. The more he fought, the tighter it became. The inside of the KRYLO ship smelled like metal and something rotten. Marcus sat in a small cage made of energy bars that buzzed when he got too close. His whole body ached from being thrown around. Through the transparent wall, he could see other cages. Some held creatures he didn't recognize. Others were empty, waiting for Verazul. The KRYLO leader approached his cage. It wore a translator device on its chest. When it spoke, the machine turned the clicking sounds into words Marcus could understand. A human child with a dragon. Fascinating. We have never seen this before. The creature's mandibles moved in what might have been curiosity. Why does the dragon protect you? You are nothing. Weak. Small. You will die in less than 100 years. He protects me because we're friends, Marcus said. His voice was stronger than he felt. Something you wouldn't understand. The KRYLO leader made a clicking sound that the translator called laughter. Friends? We thought the dragons died alone. We have been hunting them for 60 years. Each time, they are alone in caves or dead ships. Always alone. Always easy to take. Marcus's hands gripped the bars of his cage. You've been killing them for 60 years? How many were left? When we started, 20. Now! The KRYLO tilted its head. Your dragon may be the last. He will make us very wealthy. Rage burned through Marcus's fear. 20 dragons reduced to 1. 60 years of murder for profit. He thought about Verazul waiting 3,000 years in hope, waiting to see if humanity was worth believing in. And this was the galaxy humans had inherited. One where creatures like the KRYLO hunted the last of an ancient species to extinction. You're monsters, Marcus whispered. We are survivors. The galaxy is not kind to the weak. The KRYLO leader turned away. Rest, human child. Tomorrow we extract the dragon's essence. You will watch. Then we decide what to do with you. After the KRYLO left, Marcus examined his cage carefully. The energy bars were too strong to break, but the control panel was outside, just barely within reach if he stretched his arm through the bars. It would hurt. The energy would burn him, but maybe he could reach it. He took a deep breath and pushed his arm through the gap. Pain shot up his arm like fire. He bit his lip to keep from screaming. His fingers brushed the control panel. Almost there. A little more. The smell of burning skin filled the air. His vision started to go dark from the pain. His finger hit a button. The cage deactivated. Marcus pulled his arm back and fell to the floor, gasping. His arm was burned badly, but he was free. He stumbled through the ship, hiding when KRYLO patrols passed. He had to find the communication array, and he had to find whatever controls those nets on Verazul. In the ship's central chamber, he found both. The communication array was massive, powerful enough to send signals across half the galaxy. Next to it was a weapons console. On the screen, he could see Verazul outside, still trapped in the net, surrounded by KRYLO guards. Marcus's hands moved over the controls. His father had taught him basic systems programming. KRYLO technology was different, but the logic was similar. Find the command structure. Find the override. His burned fingers made every keystroke agony, but he kept working. He activated the communication array first. His message was simple. This is Marcus Chun, survivor transport ship Wanderer. Coordinates attached. Dragon under attack by KRYLO hunters. Need immediate help. He sent it on every emergency frequency he knew. Then he found something else in the system. An old frequency, one that looked like it hadn't been used in thousands of years. Verazul had mentioned it during their lessons. The Dragon Emergency Protocol. Marcus activated it. A deep pulse of energy radiated from the ship, spreading out in all directions. He didn't know if any dragons would hear it. But he had to try. Alarms blared throughout the ship. The KRYLL had detected what he did. Marcus turned to the weapons console and found the net controls. He hit the release command. Outside, the net around Verzul dissolved. The dragon rose to his full height, roaring his freedom. His wings spread wide, and golden light blazed from his scales. Even weakened, he was magnificent. KRYLL soldiers rushed into the chamber. Marcus raised his hands, ready to fight even though he knew it was hopeless. The leader grabbed him by the throat and lifted him off the ground. Foolish child, you have only delayed the inevitable. But Verzul's voice entered both their minds, strong and clear. No, he has changed everything. Look to the sky. Through the ship's windows, Marcus saw them. 3 points of light growing brighter. 3 shapes with wings descending from orbit. 3 more dragons had awakened, and they were coming fast. The KRYLL leader dropped Marcus and ran toward the weapon systems. Through the viewport, the 3 dragons grew larger. Their scales shimmered in colors Marcus had never seen before: deep emerald, brilliant sapphire, and burning crimson. They were smaller than Verzul, but moved through the air like dancers, fast and deadly. All units, prepare for combat. The KRYLL leader screamed into its communicator. Fire everything. The KRYLL ships launched missiles and energy weapons into the sky. The dragons dodged and weaved, too quick to hit. The emerald dragon breathed a stream of white-hot fire that melted one ship's wing. The sapphire dragon released a sonic roar that shattered shields. The crimson dragon simply crashed through a KRYLL fighter, tearing it apart with claws and teeth. Marcus ran from the command chamber. While the KRYLL were distracted, he had to get outside, had to reach Verzul. Alarms screamed throughout the ship as systems failed. Smoke filled the corridors. He covered his mouth and kept running. Outside, the battle raged. Verzul fought alongside the 3 newcomers, and together they were unstoppable. The ancient dragon's weakness seemed forgotten as he moved with renewed purpose. The KRYLL soldiers tried to retreat to their ships, but the dragons were everywhere. Marcus burst out of the ship's side door and stumbled into the chaos. Energy bolts flew past his head. A KRYLL soldier spotted him and raised its weapon. Marcus ducked behind a fallen tree. Then the sky lit up with new arrivals. Human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, appearing in formation above the planet. They were sleek and powerful, bearing the insignia of the Earth Defense Fleet. Marcus's heart soared. His message had been received. The lead human ship's communication system broadcasts across all frequencies. This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the EDF Resolute. All KRYLL forces stand down immediately. You are in violation of Galactic Convention 17, attacking protected indigenous life and an Earth citizen. Surrender or be destroyed. Marcus's eyes went wide. Admiral Chun, that was his aunt, his father's sister. They had come for him. The KRYLL leader's voice crackled over the communications. The dragon is ours by right of salvage. The human child trespassed on our hunting ground. You have 3 seconds to release him. Admiral Chen's voice was ice cold. 3, 2. The KRYLL ships tried to run. They didn't make it. Human fighters swarmed them, weapons locking on with perfect precision. But the humans didn't fire to kill. They fired to disable. Each shot was perfectly calculated to knock out engines and weapons but leave life support intact. Within minutes, every KRYLL ship was grounded and surrounded. Marine shuttles landed near Marcus. Soldiers in armor rushed out, forming a protective circle around him. A tall woman with short gray hair, and his father's eyes ran toward him. Admiral Chen pulled him into a tight hug. Marcus, thank God you're alive. Her voice cracked with emotion. When we got your signal, we broke every speed record to get here. Aunt Sarah? Marcus couldn't believe it. How did you get here so fast? Because you're family, and we don't leave family behind. She pulled back and looked at him seriously. Your parents and sister are alive, Marcus. Their escape pod landed on a colony world. They've been searching for you for 4 days. Relief flooded through Marcus so powerfully that his legs almost gave out. They're alive? Yes. and they'll be here within the hour. Admiral Chin looked past him at the four dragons, who now stood together watching the humans with glowing eyes. But first, I think we need to have a conversation with your friends. Verazul approached slowly, the three other dragons flanking him. Human soldiers tensed but held their fire. Marcus ran forward and stood between them. Wait, they're not enemies. Verazul saved my life. He taught me how to survive. And he's been waiting 3,000 years to see if humanity was worth believing in. The ancient dragon lowered his massive head until he was eye level with Admiral Chun. His voice entered the minds of everyone present, human and dragon alike. The child speaks truth. Long ago, my kind made a covenant with yours. We would watch and wait. We would see if humanity, when it gained power, would still remember compassion. Today, you answer that question. The dragon's eyes glowed with warmth. You crossed the stars in mere hours, not for territory or resources, but for one child. You came armed, but did not slaughter your enemies when you could have. You showed mercy even to those who showed none. Verazul straightened to his full height. The three other dragons did the same. Then, together, all four dragons bowed. Humanity has proven worthy. The covenant is fulfilled. We offer you what we once offered your ancestors, friendship, knowledge, and partnership among the stars. Admiral Chin stood silent for a moment, understanding the weight of what was being offered. Then she bowed in return. On behalf of humanity, we accept, and we promise, never again will your kind face extinction alone. Marcus stood between his aunt and Verazul, watching as human soldiers and ancient dragons met for the first time in 3,000 years. Above, his family's ship entered orbit, coming to take him home. The galaxy would never be the same. And it all started because a scared boy whispered, "Please don't eat me." And an ancient dragon chose a bow instead.